All right, and here we are, the Commissioner's Corner, episode 31, Power Rankings number 7, sponsored by a big time sponsor of ours, Webisserie or
You got it right.
Webisserie, right? Right?
Webisserie, you got
Webisserie,
it right.
Webisserie. Um, they take care of all our website. They take care of all our needs, whatever we need with regard to our website. They've been a sponsor of ours for a while, so definitely for all your website needs, Webisserie.
Ellie Smith does great stuff. Easy to work with. Anytime you need to update on the site, add things to the site, take off things to the site, make improvements, he's always there. All your website needs, Webisserie.
All right,
And here we
Yitz.
are.
Before we get going, Yitz, you watch any tourney games today?
By the way, no, I have not been into the college tournament since about 2009 when I used to run
Really?
some of the pools. Yeah, I nothing. What about you?
Even with St. John's? No, St. John's. I was watching St. John's because you know what? People like jump on bandwagons. I was watching St. John's when I was a kid. They were on Channel 9. They used to play on Channel 9. And you go back,
Oh,
Chris. I
nice,
remember
nice.
the Chris Mullen. I remember Boo Harvey, Ron Artest, Felipe Lopez.
Omar Cook.
Yeah, I mean, so I am enjoying watching that run. But other than that,
Wasn't
um,
Malik Sealy also St.
Malik
John's?
Sealy, yes, Malik Sealy, one of my. But I love Boo Harvey. For some reason, I love Boo
Because you
Harvey.
liked his name. You liked his
Yeah, it's
name.
probably that. It's probably that. But other than that, I'm just catching. Just I watch 5 minutes
Yeah, it's
here,
nice
three
to have
minutes
a New
here.
York team. It's nice to have a local team in there.
Yeah. Yes, I'm
Happy to see
hoping
what
for
they're doing.
Connecticut. I'm hoping for a Connecticut, a UConn, St. John's matchup somewhere. That would be quite
The
cool
old, the
to
old Big
have that.
East.
Exactly. They're the only two teams in the Big East that made it.
Is that
Is
true?
yeah, UConn and St. John's, only two teams. So it's pretty pathetic.
Those
You
days
don't get
when, because you those days when I guess Villanova's not the biggest team, right?
Villanova, right? Exactly. And Georgetown used to be something.
Georgetown.
Georgetown hasn't been anything for years. So
Yeah.
it's you really don't get much. Okay, so great talk, great talk, great tourney
What day
talk.
is today? I don't even know what day it is.
So the long Sunday, when the Pesach starts getting closer, I start leaving the house more. I just like my pickleball game, which usually takes 2 hours, took 5 today.
Smart. What extra innings?
Yeah, just yeah, I'm not rushing out Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I'll go out and I'll do anything.
I know. I hear that. You stay as far as away as home. Or else you're doing things. We're not doing things. So that's why we're doing this
Exactly.
today. We're
Yeah,
busy. We're all busy.
exactly.
Sorry, can't help.
My wife just asked me, "Can you help pick up some boxes?" I'm like, I gotta do the podcast. Gotta do the
No
podcast.
worries.
And my son's
Priorities.
home. My son's home from Israel. Dove is home from Israel. It's nice to have him home. So you know what? He's been
Yeah,
on
let him do
vacation for a
some.
year and a half out of the house. Let's go pick up some slack around here. You
That's
know?
it. That's it. Oh, just do want to mention last week I went to a few MSL weddings which were very nice. I went to Shia Khan's wedding and to Yosef Schwabel's wedding.
Yeah, mouths
So
up to
so it's
both of
always
them.
nice to get some MSL weddings in there.
A hundred
And they were
percent.
nice. They were nice. They didn't do it on Tuesday. It was Monday and Wednesday because they knew basketball was Tuesday.
Got to work it around our MSL schedule.
Of course. So that was good stuff. It was nice to see some people there. All
Awesome.
right, here we
All
go.
right, see,
Power rankings number 7. The
take it
season is
away, It's take it away.
the season is almost over. We got 2 regular season games left for most teams, so we're just about there. Playoffs are right around the corner. Awards right around the corner. No idea who's winning MVP right now. I mean, these last 2 games are probably gonna decide it. No idea. No one, everybody's sticking out and nobody's sticking out at the same time. So
There are a few, like we mentioned, I think last week. Terrell Langer, and there's some other guys sticking out. Playing really well, but just play 2 games, 3 games. We're not giving to anybody that stood out in 2 games.
you gotta
Um,
play.
I
You gotta
know,
play more than half.
I know. We'll mention it later. Jacoby. There's some players that have had
Right.
games and moments, but you got to play more than two,
Right.
three
The
gams
NBA
too.
has NBA has 65 game minimum for the
Yeah.
awards. We have at least I think five
That's
out of
way,
eight,
and
six
the
out of eight.
NBA,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna win the MVP is gonna be a joke because that 60, they don't realize how much 65 is, and
Yeah.
there's not gonna be a lot of players hitting that from the MVP guys.
That's right. That's right. Same thing in our league right now. All
Yeah.
right. Number 11 in our power rankings. They are still at number 11 after their 1-0 start, as we keep mentioning it. Speedy funding. Lost a close one last week. They did not win. They lost. I said this game. Remember, I was going into the game saying, both teams have to win this game. None of them want to lose. They both have to win. And supposedly it was tied up with like 5 seconds left or so, 10 seconds. So I was almost wrong in this one. I said someone has to win, someone has to lose. Hassan hit a big three to beat them. And Speedy Funding is now 1-5 after their 1-0 start. Seems so long ago, right?
Yeah, they started off, and we're excited about them.
Faki had a
With how
good
they're
start.
playing. Faki had some nice games to start, but they hit the wall too early. Hit the
Yeah.
wall too early.
I mean, after one game,
Yeah, yeah.
that was rough. They got that win, and we're like, whoa, and so they're at the bottom now. They are playing better than they had last year. They're in games now. If this was that same team 3 seasons ago, they'd win 5 games. But as we keep saying, the league is better, and they're stuck at one win after that big win against Totally Accounting. Speaking of Totally Accounting, number 10. Who would have thought that? After last year, I think they finished number 3. Number 10, Totally Accounting. They were off last week. Yosef Schwebel got married on Wednesday. They were off. So they remain at 2-4, number 10 in the power rankings. And as you said many times, without Newman there, without Yosef Schwebel there, they just don't have enough firepower to win games. And it's, Yosef, is he going to play anymore? Is Newman going to play anymore? We don't even know. So they didn't play last week. They're stuck at number 10. Not stuck. They went down to number 10 in the power rankings. Number 9. Number 9.
I expect
Yeah.
them to move up, but at this point, if Yosef Schwabel is not around, he just got married, they're gonna need Freilich, they're gonna need Newman and everybody else there, and
Yes.
and even with that, without Yosef, ultimately Yosef is the leader there. He's the point guard that takes control of that game, of the team. So I'm just not sure if they're going to move up or how much they
Yeah.
can move up without him.
Them moving down, gives other teams a chance to make the playoffs this year. And at number 9 is, with a win last week, a close win over the number 11 Speedy Funding. So they move up from 10 to number 9 is Premium Construction. Hassan hit a big three. I think they were up. They were up big. I heard at the half. Then they blew it. But then David Hassan, G Lazone. Let's bring his name in. G Lazone, supposedly. Gedalia Lazone had a big game, 12 points, some big shots. So welcome to the podcast, Gedalia Lazone. He had the biggest game for Premium in their 51-48 win over Speedy Funding. So good to see. And
The G man, the G
oh,
man. He's from the top guys in the league. We love him, and we're definitely happy to hear that he had a big time game. And Hassan hitting a big shot, not a surprise. He's
not a
uh,
surprise.
he's a gamer. Hassan's a
Yeah.
gamer.
I would love to see. I still haven't seen it from their team this year. I haven't seen their big four. Whoever that is it Zeev and Cam Rosenthal and Trindler and Hassan, all have good games. Or even 3 of them have good games. Or even 2 of them have good games at the same time. It hasn't happened yet, but they could do it. We'll see what happens in the last few games. They need to win out to make the playoffs probably. Number 8 in the power rankings, even though they lost last week, is going to be Vision Vinyl. They're also 2-4. The standings are really bunched up on the bottom for that last playoff spot. We have 4 teams, by the way, that are 2-4, which is
Wow.
crazy. And they're all looking for 8 out of the 11 teams make the playoffs, so they're going to fight for it. They had a tough game against Gotavi. Gotavi was just better that game. Mulgi had another good game. He gets a lot of destroying the leaderboards and rebounds this year. He's averaging 14 a game.
I said it from the first time I saw him
You
play. I'm
liked
like,
him.
this
You
guy's
liked him
right.
right
I
away.
liked him right away. I said his
Yeah.
energy. He just plays offensive, defense. He's just playing, giving it an all game. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a big time fan of his.
They just don't have enough firepower. Aiden had a decent game. Yitzi Rosen was there. We put the total of his shots at 3. Ellie Race put the total at 3.5. I pounded the under, destroyed the under. Yitzi Rosen didn't take a shot. I should have done the reverse one line for that one.
I know Ellie Race in the football. He took 3.5 completions for Yitzi Rosen and his quarterback, and Ellie Race was pounding the under. I love you,
Insider
Yitzy.
trading right there. So, They're 2-4 also. They haven't gotten a streak going. Nimni was a huge loss for them. He's there every game, but he's not on the court, which is a big loss. Sammy Goldstein showed up to one, I think, game all year. Another, that was a big mistake picking him up because he just doesn't show up, and he got a roster spot. They probably could have had someone else there. So they're stuck at 2-4, and they are number 8 in the power rankings.
And I'm sure also, just talking about Sammy Goldstein, I'm sure also you think, oh, we can jump to the next level, at least to be a mid to higher, thinking, hey, we got Sammy Goldstein, but if he's going to show to 1-2 games only, it's not going to have any impact.
I heard he's out for the season. I think
Well,
he is. He's in school now in Queens or something. He's not coming up. So yeah. So hopefully their team makes the playoffs, just so we could say they're in the playoffs, and maybe they put up a fight. They just don't have that firepower right now. Yampel is a very good player. We know Aiden's a good player. Mulgay is a good player. Not enough. You need that other scorer, and you need the leadership on the court that Nimni provided. It's not there. As I said, hopefully they go on a win streak and surprise it. Like the tournament, have there been any upsets, like big upsets, really?
there was one going on now. Florida was down with like a few minutes left against the number. They were number 1 against the number 9 against Iowa, I think. But I'm not sure. But this is more important than that.
Yes,
So
Iowa won.
you-
Iowa wins.
right there, the number 9 against the number 1.
Yeah. I'm reading it right now. Number 9
Yet
Spartans
and I want to let
runs.
you know, I had that picked in my bracket.
Wow.
I had
Me
Iowa
too.
beating
Me too. I
Florida.
had them in all my brackets that I didn't do.
I had St. John's losing, but Iowa beating Florida. I liked Iowa a lot. They can't
Right.
hit foul shots, but I did have them winning Florida, so I'm happy about
You
that one.
got that. What shows,
Breaking news!
and
Breaking news!
anything could happen in the dance. So if premium gets there, if vinyl gets there, anything could happen. Now here's the biggest shock of the year: number 7 in the power rankings. I don't know what's going on. Webisserie, number 7 in the power rankings, 2-4. They
Wow.
have tripled. You can't. The
I
math doesn't even math, but they have tripled their losses this year than they had the last 5 years combined.
Pollock was a really nice player, but it's
It's more,
2-4.
more than
Two
that.
and four. We were just talking about this before we got on. We're talking about Azer and Akaki and how many the points they're averaging.
Game.
They need to pick up. Those two players need to pick up, and I don't think they have maybe the supporting cast. When they used to have Chaim Heineman and some other Gav and other
Milkovic.
players. Maybe they didn't realize how much they need those type of players to make it easier on them,
So
for them to score. So
this
they're
week,
definitely struggling.
right? So they played against the best team. The number 1 rated team smashed us last week, and they were winning all game. Winning all game, and this is huge.
Mm.
They win that game instead of 2-4. They're 3-3. They're moving up. They're showing they can beat the champs. It was a rematch of last year's.
And that
Sammy
would have been
Marcus.
huge. That would have been big for their confidence because I think that's
Yes,
where they're lacking a little right now.
yeah. They were up.
Especially after the last season's championship loss. I think it was like a wake up for them. So I think they came to the season maybe their confidence a little shot. Maybe a big time win against a team like that would have been like,
And
okay, we can do it.
and they were up 42-37 or 42-35 with about 5 minutes left, and they scored 2 points the rest of the game. They ended up losing 51-44, I think, something like that. A few points they scored. I don't know. Something's just not right. Once you get them in a half-court game, that they really don't do much anymore. It's fast break or nothing for them. It's
And
hard.
we love those guys. We love that team. We love those
Yeah.
guys. They've been such a big time team. Would love to listen. Let's
They
see
can
what type
turn it
of fight
on.
they can.
Turn it
They
on.
have the capability for sure because they've done it. Because they've done it. But they definitely have to get their confidence and believe that they can do it.
They were believing this game until about 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left. They
Wow.
had it, and then you just say when they get stopped from the break and it becomes a half court game, which it was for the last 5 minutes. They scored 2 or 3 points. One basket maybe in a foul shot. So they're down to number 7. I mean, that's crazy.
Wow.
Number
Wow. I
7.
mean, just look at they're down to number 7, and we're saying totally counting last season was number 3 or 4, and they're down to number 10. So the league, like we said, is getting stronger and a lot of
Absolutely.
very competitive, and just the fact that those two teams are so low just show what's on top of them that there
But
is
I
really.
guess I guess it's the opposite of what you say. Teams are going down in the power rankings. Someone's got to go down in the power rankings, and it's happening.
Mhm.
Number 6, another disappointing team from the start of the season. They were at one point ranked number 1 in the power rankings. Day 3 is now down to 3-3, and all the way down to number 6. They were number 1 2 weeks ago, and now that they were 3-1, they beat Smash House, right? They beat Smash House.
Yep, yep.
They were number 1, and now they're back down to number 6, 3-3. Things
You
aren't
know what?
looking
I was
too
at
good.
that game where they beat Smash House, and I'm watching this team, and I'm like, they're good. They hustle. They're shooters. They can drive. They can hit the outside. They have Freeman, Konigsberg. They had just a bunch of good players all around. I'm like, you know what? They're going to be top. And then since then, it was
That was that.
just
That was the Gov game, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And even then, Gav had a great game, but he hasn't matched up to that game since. So they definitely need a Gav, and they need these players, but they
And
have the
they need
talent.
all the
They
guys.
have the talent. We see it. They have they play hard. They're all dogs. They all they go at it. But ultimately, it's wins and losses, baby, wins and losses.
Big
And since they
injury.
were ranked number
Koenig,
1, they have not been able to hold that.
and they lost Koenig. That was a big injury. He was a good shooter for them. Unfortunately, his
Yeah,
a
they were fortunately
tore
to
his
him.
ACL and some other things in his knee. Hopefully, we see him back coaching and see him back next year. But that's going to be a long process, and they definitely miss him. Number 5 in the power rankings, and they've moved. They're the opposite. They were number 11 at one point. Now they're back to number 5 where they should be. Maybe even going to move up. Go Tavi, Menachem Braun's team. They handled Vision Vinyl last week, and they're a good team. As we know, they have both Jacobys. Last week was just Akiva. Pacey didn't show up. They have Tepler and Augenstein and Ackerman and Rubin. They're just a good team. They're a solid, solid bunch of guys. They play well together. Buff, when he's not arguing with the refs or the other team, he's playing well. But he's their fire. He's
Yeah,
that
you know what?
guy.
I appreciate that. You know what? The guy's on the court, and you know that he's giving it all. Sometimes we want him to focus less on the refs and all that, but ultimately he's a competitor,
Yeah.
and that's why they win. That's why they're winning games, is
Yes.
because they're all competitors on that team. And
Yep.
but Braun is the more calm leader of that team.
Well,
But with
I wouldn't call him calm.
I'm being
No.
nice.
Tepler's the calm.
Okay, Tepler. Yeah, Tepler's a good guy, good shooter,
Yeah,
good player,
no.
good all around player.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but again, you always need a fire. We say that about role players, and not, and I'm not saying that Buff is a role player, but every team needs that guy that just has that energy. In a goal in a close game, they're gonna get in your face, and they're gonna do everything they can for that W.
So Gotavi at one point was 0-3, and now they're 3-3. 3-game winning streak. Moving up.
Told you,
They're
told
expect-
you they got to move up. I told you,
you
expect them to
got
move
that
up.
one right. Number 4, after a nice comeback win last week, they were down to day 3. Funres back to number 4 with a nice win. Radinsky had some big shots, I heard. Schulman had some big shots. Coach Schulman drew up a good game plan, coming off that bad loss the previous week where they took a shot too early and then they let YU beat them with like 7 seconds left. So big win by Funres this week. And again, they're a dangerous team. They're the veterans. I saw, Zelkovic hit a few threes. I watched the game afterwards. And yeah, they're back at number 4 at 4-3. Always a dangerous team.
Yep.
Number 3, you have something on them?
No, absolutely not. To me,
You know what
like, I expect a team with the Schulmans, coached by Schulman, with Schulman and Radinsky, they're going to compete against anybody, and they're not going to get blown out by anybody,
No.
even against the top teams. They're going to fight, and they're going to play hard. So yeah, I expect them to be in this position at 4 or 5 throughout the season.
Number 3, and this is the matchup of or coming into the week was the matchup of the week. Number 3 down to number 3. They were number 3 last week also, but they were at one point number 2, I believe. YU Svarim Cell, the Waterbury boys. They ended up getting blown out by Terrell Nojo Promo, which It's a tough matchup. Tough matchup. They're a big team. Terrell Wagner. AJ had a nice handful of rebounds as well. And YU, they were down by 26, I think, at the half. I think it was 46-20 at the half, or something like that. They cut it a little, but never got close enough. They started
You
arguing
know,
with the refs later on. It
yeah,
wasn't the refs'
you know what? I've watched
reason.
a bunch of YU games. I happen to love the team. They're a quick
Zahari had a
team,
huge game.
but
He's great.
it's by them. It's matchup. I don't think they have the toughness inside against a Smash House team, against a Nojo style team where you have a Terrell and a Wagner. They're just not big enough inside. They can run you all out of the gym. They can run you out of the gym. But if the
Yes.
game turns into
Yes.
a half court game and it slows down a bit, I think they're going to struggle with that.
They were missing Googie this week. He was not there. And on the other side, they were missing Schwartzman. So but they were down so like they were Nojo promo. Let's go to them now. Number two, and I'm sure I'm going to get flack for keeping them at number two and not number one. But again, they lost to the number one seed. So, but Nojo promo playing great. Honestly, they're really playing great. Their only loss has been to Smash House. That was their only loss this year. Nojo promo number two destroyed YU. As I said, Terrell just missed a triple double. He had 8 rebounds. That was it. He had the 10 assists. He's leading the league in assists by far. He had about 18 points as well. AJ hit some clutch shots. Well, it wasn't clutch. AJ just hit some big threes. You had Schiff, Shane, Teichman had a good game. Some fast break points for Farber, and they played great. They controlled the boards. They ran. They're just they. You know what it was? So YU went to a man first, and they were just too big for the man. Terrell went inside right away. They went to a zone, and they killed the zone. They were passing out of the zone. They were hitting threes like crazy. They went back to a man in the second half. They cut it a little. Wasn't enough. Nojo's just they're showing. They're showing what they are. They're a great team. They have
And their
chemistry
one
now.
loss, just remember their one loss against Smash House. I believe that was the game Wagner may have been out for.
Yes,
Am I
you're right.
right? I
Right.
think Wagner. So why you fully loaded against a Smash House fully loaded team? That's really good.
And I think that was also the game Smashers brought all their guys,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think they had Paul and Gutman and Langer and all the guys.
So you listen, they're doing Noju is doing their thing. They're playing great. Again, in a playoff, in a close game, can Terrell, can AJ, can that team hold its calm, be cool? Not a guy makes a bad place. Get out, get in, get out. It's
Right,
because the
right.
games are going
Control.
to get
Yeah.
close, right? Games are going to get close. So it's going to be on their veteran leadership in the big games and close games, how they are going to get them to the next level in order to win a championship. So that's what I would like to see.
Yeah. And number one in the power rankings again, I think they were only out for 1 week after the loss to day three, is the defending champs, Smash House. As we said, they had a nice comeback against Webisserie. Gutman and Langer were just too much. They were just too big. They both got Smash House players of the game. One guy got his crispy, his spicy chicken. The other one got his Philly sandwich. So they dominated. Double
They
Cats had a
earned it.
solid
They
game.
earned it.
It was nice to see Gelnick. Gelnick was there. He's trying to get eligible, so he was there. Mo Kelson was there. Malka had his assists. Malka got a few rebounds too. Hit a nice three early in the game. Alex Kelson's still not there. He's been injured. He's got a knee
Wow.
injury, and that's big for them. Alex Kelson, if he's not there, that's a big thing. But they still got the win. They buckled down at the end when they were down by 7 with 5 minutes left, and they just put on a clinic the last 5 minutes. And they're the champs. They're the champs for a reason. Whether
Yep.
it's the beginning of the game, middle of the game. Dover Katz, I interviewed after the game, and he goes, you have to understand, in this league, you could go down by 10, you could go up by 10. The game's not over. You got to keep cool. Whether you're up by a lot, you know the other team's going to make a run. Whether you're down by a lot, you got to stay calm, because if you're not calm, that run's not going to happen. If you're calm, you get back in the game, and it happens. There are so many times we see teams up big, and like the NBA now, and before you
Yep.
know it,
Yep.
you figure things out, you come back. You got to remain calm, and that's what he did, and that's what Smash was
And
always
Smash House
about.
is Smash House with having your leader of David Katz, and also your wingman, say Langer, who's always calm and they play under pressure. They know how to do that. Gutman, so they have the players who can control those games. That's what I was saying about the Nojo team. in a close game, they go down 10. Is it panic, or are they going to
Right.
be able to say, "Hey, we know there's going to be runs. Let's just keep going,
One
do
game.
our thing." So it's Dovey Katz is the best, one of the best leaders I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
We've seen enough games in different sports with him playing, and not only is he a great athlete and a great player, a great person. He's a true leader. He's a true captain. If you have to say captain, he's a
100%.
true captain.
100%. They're a great team, and
Mm,
they are probably the odds-on favorite to win it all. But I could see other teams giving them
yeah,
some trouble. But right now, they're showing they're the best team. Again, they have
yeah.
one loss all season. That was to day three, which and since that day three has just gone downhill, and Smash Us is winning again. So those are the power rankings. Number one again, Smash House. Two, Nojo Promo. Three, Wayu. Four is Funrez. Five is Gotavi. I think up to number five. Five Gotavi. Six Day Three. Seven Webisserie, the biggest shocker of all. Eight Vision Vinyl. Nine Premium. 10 Totally, and 11 Speedy. And once again, just these records, so everybody understands what's going on. It's an 8-game season, and we have two teams at 3-3, four teams at 2-4, and one team at 4-3. So 2 weeks left. The 10th seed could move all the way up to the 4th seed.
Well,
It's crazy,
yeah,
right?
still a lot to play for. A
Two
lot to
games
play for.
separate. 2 games separate the 10th seed from the 4. It's
Yeah,
nuts. And we have to, these 2 games are going to be huge. This week, some mismatches on paper. But you know what? With the players in our league, a mismatch doesn't mean anything. It's going to be
yeah,
played on the court. The team that comes, brings their heart, brings their passion, and plays all out has a chance to win every week. And we could see some upsets. I'm calling at least one big upset this week. I'm calling it. I
Ooh.
don't know who, but we're
So
going
let's
to
discuss
see.
the matchup. Let's discuss the matchups.
Are you making
And
me call the actual upset?
no, maybe.
Okay, so quickly, here are the matchups for this week. 7-10, always the 7-10 game, is the Senders guys Nojo Promo against Vision Vinyl. Now, I'm telling you, the only way Vision Vinyl's winning this game, and Terrell cannot let this happen, is if Taubenblatt starts yapping, and he does that from the side. He gets into it with everybody, and Terrell takes the bait. If that happens, Vision Vinyl has a chance to win. Because instead of Terrell playing the game, he's going to be complaining to the refs that this guy's talking, and Taubenblatt won't stop. As much as I told him last week, stop talking to the other team, he can't control himself. And Terrell and AJ, they have a propensity to go back at guys. And
Vision
that's,
Vinyl with Mulgay, he can also
yeah,
they're not going to be
he
able to
can cause some
bully up the.
problems.
They're not going to be able to bully in the middle and score those easy buckets.
Correct.
He's a legit defensive player and a legit rebounder. So
100%. Talent wise, he's there. But I think Nojo Promo, the only way they lose these games is, as you said earlier, is if they start doing the extracurricular things,
mm,
right? Start worrying about the refs, start worrying about the other team, start fighting with themselves. So I don't see any upset in that game. But I hope to be proven wrong. I love upsets. Oh God, I can't believe you're making me do this. Next game is Premium against Funrez. So that's Shulman's against Hassan. And I love Hassan. And you know what? What do I like more, when Hassan wins or when he loses? So then I could hear how sad he is. Yitz, I don't know, man. We were right there. So, which it was great.
but
This
you
game's
but
gonna
you
be
root but
close.
you root for players like Hassan. You want them to
Of
win,
course.
right? We always want them to win.
This game's going to be close. I'm telling you. I know Moshe Shulman's already doing he's watching the videos already. I can tell you that much. I can tell you that much. So he's going to drop. He's going to know. He's going to know who to shut down. This game's going to be close, though. I think Funrez will come out on top, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close for sure. Next game, Speedy against Day 3. The way Day 3 is playing, I would not be shocked if Speedy wins this one. And if Speedy wins this one, then we have a million teams at 2 wins. That's going to be crazy. I wouldn't be shocked. Day 3 is not playing well. They're just not playing
The
well.
last few weeks they have not. They definitely have to get it together and figure it out.
Wouldn't be
They
shocked.
definitely don't want to lose this week. They definitely don't want to
No,
lose this week.
they're 3-3. Right? It's not like they're 6-1. They're 3-3
Uh,
right now. So that wouldn't shock me. When we got Webisserie playing angry, I'm sure, against Totally Accounting. I Don't think Yosef Schwebel will be there, right? It's his
I think it's still Shaver
I'm doing
Brothers,
the
or
math
it's
right.
Shaver Brothers or a day after Shaver Brothers. Either way, I hope he's not there.
Is it Shaver Brachas? He got married Wednesday. Is Tuesday still Shaver Brachas?
Yeah, he should be still be Mil Shaver Brothers. Avi
Maybe they can
Schwebel
do a
could be there.
breakfast.
Avi Schwebel may show up, but you.
So that's the Webisserie sees them without
Joseph
they still
Schwebel.
have guys. But will Newman show up with Yosef not there? Will Freilich show up with none of those guys there?
Right.
They
Right.
still have Justin, Milstein, Daniel Cohn, but Webisserie playing angry now, right? We always say you don't want to play teams that's just coming off a tough
Yeah.
loss. That's a
Yep.
tough match for totally accounting now. And the last game, this is the best game of the week on paper. Wayu's Farm Sale against the Red Hot Gotaga. I think this is Waterbury versus Waterbury, right?
This is like
Braun,
the
Tepler.
veterans, the veteran Waterbury team against the rookie bowl. So
This
I'm
is
sure there'll definitely be some personality, some entertainment in that game. But this is definitely going to be a great game. I agree
game of
with
the
you.
night,
This is the
right?
game
Game
of
of
the
the
week,
night.
100%. That's the game I want to be at. I want to see. I want to see what's going on. But that should be a great, great matchup.
Yeah, and that's a huge game. If Gotavi wins, they're 4-3, and Wayu loses, they're 4-3, and we just have crazy stuff going to go on in the standings. Imagine the last week if we have 4 teams at 4-3 and 4 teams at 3-4.
Wow.
That'd be crazy. Crazy. And the last flax will say, "What's a big deal? Everybody makes the playoffs. Let's put all 11 teams in." But that's
But
it. Anyway, we're looking forward to this week. Ezzy, I will see you there. You're back
we are
from
back. We are
earlier
back.
traveling.
For
And
now,
then
I'm
we have
back.
Pesach break. Yep. All right.
I may have
See
to
you
travel
soon.
just to stay away from the house for Pesach. I just
Yes.
may.
Your wife thinks you're in Dallas, probably, right? We're not going to get you on. We're not going to get you. You stay behind the camera. She won't know it's your voice.
Love it.
Take care.
All right. Looking forward.